Way. Council Austin, would you bless the meeting?
Certainly. Lord, we come to you today in this season of Christmas, grateful for the opportunity to gather, grateful for the opportunity to be of service to our people, the Cherokee people, and grateful to be gathered in goodwill. And we ask that you guide us and lead us as we go through our process of self-governing, that you lead us and guide us and protect us as we go forward on this journey. We ask your blessings. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Roll call, Shelley.
Yes, sir. Joe Bird.
Ani.
Ryan Warner.
Amen.
Bill Englund.
Amen.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Harvey Bezer.
Here.
Sean Crittenden.
Here.
Mike Dobbins.
Here.
Wanda Hatfield. Rex Jordan.
Here.
Dick Way.
Here.
Mike Shannon.
Here.
Terry Bakershaw.
Ani.
Gil Smith.
Here.
James Taylor. Here. Victoria Lindland. Debbie Walkinsett.
Thank you, Shelley. At this time, I would entertain approval of the minutes.
Make a motion they be approved.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. Marshal Service. Mr. Shannon Mule is out of town, so we've got his good replacement.
Morning, how's everyone?
Good. Would you please state your full name?
My name is Scott Craig.
Okay.
I'm one of Shannon's captains. He asked me to come over and speak with you, and if there's any questions that I might be able to answer, I'd be happy to try.
Okay. Any questions for our marshal?
Comment, Speaker.
Yes, go ahead.
With the, many of you guys are aware a tornado came through Cherokee County and just ripped a lot of homes up. But I just want to commend the emergency management group. They're out there at 3 in the morning checking on people.
Yes, sir.
And trying to find shelter for a lot of those people that didn't have any. And, you know, I think you guys just did an exceptional job. However, you know, the housing authority, I feel like they could have been more responsive in out in those communities. Human Services was out there at the nutrition sites, providing assistance and giving people emergency assistance for homes and so forth. But as far as the housing authority, I asked Gary Cooper for that presence to be there, and he said that they were short-staffed and they was unable to get people out to those areas. But you know, when you have an emergency, especially a state of an emergency, and you know the chief signed, I think there needs to be some type of law or something that all departments and programs have to stay open for a period of time to get help to those people. Because on Tuesday they were closed down for a Christmas party. You know, that wasn't very good when people's been out in the cold and taking care of insurance adjusters and all that to get out there. But you guys did a good job. I did talk to some of your staff about your emergency management plan.
Right.
And you know, they reverted back to the Eastern Band of Cherokees, and they said they have a really good plan in place. Like when the hurricane came in and there was a lot of flooding, Chief Sneed of the Eastern Band executed a $50,000 line of credit to be spent on anything to be sure his people were taken care of. And I don't know if that's something that we have in place or something that we need to possibly look at. But it's, yeah, you really can't prepare for stuff like this. You know, it kind of blindsided us. And also the natural resources, all the equipment we have with the backhoes, the dozers, all the equipment would have been very helpful to have the day after the storm to get trees off of homes and so forth. And you know, I talked to David Moore on Monday, and he was saying, you know, that you guys and natural resources need to partner together. So if something like this happens again, you guys will have that first call, you know, response from natural resources to come in And so,
And there is a partnership there. We actually had a meeting on that Monday that I attended, and Natural Resource was a part of that meeting, and we coordinated together for them to provide that equipment out there for different workers to try to help people and help the
it was a
families.
Friday. The storm hit on a Friday night. Cherokee Nation's closed through the weekend.
Right.
You know, but I know you guys visited. So hey, in the future, how can we make this more responsive?
Yes, sir.
You know. Anyway, thank you, Speaker.
Okay, anybody else? Yes, Counselor Smith?
I just want to say thank you to the Marshal Service. They were calling me like at 5:30 in the morning, keep me informed up at 9:30. Had a lot of people call me and tell me they appreciate all the help that was there. That's in Sequoia County.
Thank you.
But they were out doing their job, and I was out some, and I saw them. They were working a lot more than 8 hours a day. So
Yeah,
Good deal.
you know, as my family lives in that area, lives in Proctor, and I can tell you, you know, I was out there till 5 o'clock in the morning, driving around and, you know, making sure that, you know, that all my family was okay. So we have a firm foothold in that area, and we want to make sure that all of our people are taken care of, not just my family, but, you know, everyone's taken care of.
good job.
Yes. Counselor Warner?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to say thank you to the Marshal Service, and also that to be mindful, I know that some of it, probably a lot of us had visited with individuals in the Cookson community, and right now they'd had a meeting on Friday, local folks trying to figure out how they're going to do. So anything that we can do to help them out, any of us, if you have ideas for, you know, like one, I tried to call the city of Sallisaw and see if they had dumpsters that they could take out there, because they're going to start these cleanup efforts and anything. So if you know of contractors, anybody that's willing to throw in, I'd just say, you know, they're willing and able. So thank you.
Yes. Anybody else? Yes, Counselor Critton?
Natural Resources at Cookson? Equipment
I believe they're still helping out.
in Cookson.
Yeah, in Cookson, we have spent thousands and thousands of man hours, you know, helping, you know, getting people out there and trying to help people, you know, clean up and make sure that, you know, no one was injured. So I believe they're still there.
Was fortunate, you know, and we had some damage, but Jeremy Fisher, he kept me informed, and I know you guys were at it, so
Right.
some of us were in bed, and I know there was a lot of people that wasn't in bed, so
Right.
appreciate y'all.
You bet.
Anybody else? Well, Scott, I remember 96, 97, usually the state or the federal government will declare a state of emergency. We attempted through the tribe to declare a state of emergency, and they granted it, federal government. We just asserted our sovereignty.
Right.
And not only they grant 14 counties, this is when we had our droughts. The farmers and people from Texas was bringing hay to us and helping us out.
Right.
This is working together. This is partnerships with the communities. But they not only granted 14 counties, they granted us 17 counties for disaster relief. So that's a big deal.
That is.
And I had a lot of compliments on you guys out there. I know we had 5 crews out there with chainsaws and equipment moving trees and doing whatever they could. We have pretty good people that are ready for these type of things. I know we get caught off guard, but we've got good crews working together here. Got good partnership with local agencies. So just want to thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
One more comment, Speaker. Since FEMA didn't declare Cookson or any of those other areas as a disaster, and this may not be a question for you, but it may be. The USDA, the Rural Development,
Uh-huh.
a lot of those people are trying to rebuild and they don't have insurance.
What is this?
Right.
And a lot of them are Cherokee citizens. And, you know, you can't get help through the Housing Authority if you don't have insurance. And so these people are in limbo. They're between a rock and a hard place. And they're practically homeless. You know, what can we do as a tribe to leverage a rural development loan? Or I was visiting some folks yesterday, and they said there was a loan out there at 1% interest at 33 years.
And that's what I was going to tell you. I had Jeremy type up a little bit of information as far as FEMA goes, and I was just going to wait and see if it came up. But they have, what we're doing is we're working with the Oklahoma Emergency Management to roll our Small Business Administration declaration for assistance, and that is in the form of small business loans, which would also, it helps as far as damage to a residence, something like that, and it's in the form of a low interest loan, as you were speaking about. And you know, that right there is the only thing that we have going right now. FEMA, they haven't denied any declarations, but there's a threshold for individual assistance, and that threshold is 120 homes. We had 50 homes that were majorly, or that were destroyed, and we had 25 that were majorly damaged, but we didn't make the threshold for FEMA to come in and provide assistance for all of them. So what we're doing is we're going to go, okay, state, here's where we're at. We want to partner with you to try to get our people some loans to try to help them rebuild and do it in a low interest fashion.
Okay, is that the 1% deal, or?
I'm not sure as far as the percentage goes. I was just told that it was a low interest loan.
Okay, so who do I direct these victims to if it's for them to start applying for these low interest loans?
I would suggest right now that they contact the Emergency Management Department, Jeremy Fisher.
Is there something in place right now, or do I need to hold
No,
off?
it's in the works. It's not been completed yet. They haven't got everything done yet to get that done. It's just in the process. We're trying to partner with them.
When you guys complete that process, can you communicate with the counselors that people were affected in those areas?
Be happy to.
Okay. I'm sure Brian and EO and Shambaugh and some other people would like to, and Councilman Critton would like to know that information.
Be happy to.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Good. Counselor Shambaugh?
Real quick, do you have a phone number for Fisher by any chance?
I'm going to give you the main number to our office, which is dispatch, and they can find him, which is 918-207-3800.
I have a I don't know, I'm sorry I missed the first part of this, but I have a situation where a lady too, is her house is destroyed. She's getting the $1,000 for immediate emergency assistance. They're supposed to, she hasn't yet, but she's 60 years old, handicapped, living in a travel trailer. So, you know, finding, I mean, I don't have any answers for her as far as, you know, how to get her into something other than a travel trailer.
Right.
You know. And that's the thing that I've run into, and I don't have anything the scope of what they have, but you know, I came here looking for answers today, and I'm going to talk to several different people to see what my options are to tell this family. So
right.
I appreciate that, and hopefully it won't take too long, and there'll be maybe some answers.
Well, you know, family and friends that, like I said, that I've known all my life were affected by this, and I hate that it's taken as long as it has. I wish that there was something that we could, you know, snap our fingers and make the state do what we wanted to. It's just everything has to go through its processes.
It's difficult to prepare for the unforeseen.
Absolutely.
So yes, but we appreciate that. Your efforts.
You bet.
Hey, Chief, nothing more comment?
Let's go.
Is there any chance that we could put tribal dollars into an account for some type of emergency rehab for those folks that don't qualify through the housing authority? Because, you know, some of these, yeah, Chief, I yield to you.
We have it right now. If they apply, they don't qualify, they're Cherokee citizens, and for some reason why they don't qualify, the fund that we set up, that emergency is tribal dollars, and it's there.
Is there a way, because I know we get $10,000 a piece as a council member, is there any way to increase that amount due to the severity? What's that?
We'll come back if we expend it, but right now, anybody that needs to be looking at RAP and TAP and rental assistance until we find out what FEMA's going to do, what low interest loans, if they got insurance, if they don't have insurance, I mean, there's still a lot of things, but for the immediate, after the motel, then rental assistance to get them into a rental unit until we can figure out how to help them.
But
But
like
they
when-
need to be applying at the housing.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the first step. So once we exhaust our funds in our district, is there, this council, like my district got hit hardest, but will this council be willing to come or?
You also gave us some that we're gonna help whatever district needs to be helped.
Okay, so you guys have funds as well to help out with this?
You gave them to us, and, I mean, it's all over the housing authority, and, so we'll mix and match, and if we run out, we'll come back to you for another appropriation.
Okay, all right, but, hey, Chief, so this doesn't, those people don't have to abide by the federal regulations? Cause I got one guy has a felony, and,
They have to apply.
okay,
They have to get denied for something beyond their control. A felony would be one of those things. Other than the felony, he would have qualified, income-wise, Cherokee citizen, you know, yada, yada, yada. Then we can look at it with the special.
okay, sounds good, thank you, sir.
Good? Anything else? Good report.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Okay, Office Attorney General, Chrissy.
It's not quite afternoon yet. Got 5 minutes. First, I want to introduce a new attorney, Taylor, who sent up. This is Taylor Edwards, a new Assistant Attorney General in our office, and Counselors Lay and Vasquez. She is originally from Nowata. She lives in Tulsa now. She joins us. She's about 3 years out of law school and has a background in-house with a large bank. So she has some financial experience, and we're really glad to have her aboard.
What is her name?
Taylor Edwards.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm
Welcome, Taylor.
I just have a couple of updates on the Murphy case. There was a call for additional briefing following the oral argument. The Supreme Court wanted to know, even if the Creek Nation Reservation had never been disestablished, was there any law that specifically provided criminal jurisdiction over Indians within the reservation? And their second question was, can a reservation be a reservation but not be Indian country under the criminal statute? There's a lot of tea leaf reading about what those questions mean and what the court's going to decide, but those briefs have not been submitted yet. All parties have to submit them at the same time, which is a little bit interesting because usually in a case one side goes and the other side gets to respond, and with this call for additional briefing they all have to be turned in at the same time, so no one gets to see or respond to what the other side is arguing, although they have a pretty good idea. On our ICWA case, I think I told you last time that we got the stay from the Fifth Circuit. We now have a briefing schedule on that. The Department of Justice, the United States, did appeal, and we have a consolidated schedule where we'll all be on the same briefing schedule. It will be complete in February, and oral argument are currently set the second week of March. That's the Fifth Circuit, which is in New Orleans. That's the week after Mardi Gras, so we won't have to worry about getting hotels to go to the argument. We are currently in that case working on amicus briefs, the friend of the court briefs from people who want to support our position. We've got a little bit of a issue in that we have more help than we need. We're trying to pare some of those briefs down. We've got a long list of people who want to submit them, but you don't want so many that the court won't read them. So we're trying to work with the parties that want to help and get them to, some of them to consolidate and some of them to maybe consider support in ways other than filing a brief. And the other kind of interesting news that's somewhat tied to that, because who was sued in that case, was announced over the weekend that Ryan Zinke, the Secretary of Interior, is stepping down, and President Trump has said that he will name a replacement this week, and that's the department that the BIA is under, so it affects a lot of what we do. So there's lots of rumors of who that person might be, but until they name someone, so a little bit frustrating in that when there's turnover at the top level of those departments, everybody kind of has to wait for policy directives. So things that have been in the works sometimes get set back a little bit when they know a new secretary or new director is coming in to see what their positions are going to be on certain things. But I know that our government relations staff will continue to do the good work what they do with those folks up there. So that's it for my report. I'll take any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Yes, Councilor Taylor.
Chrissy, I had called you back in November regarding a Indian child welfare question about a court date that had gone 3 weeks later. No action had been taken by the Attorney General's office in that issue. Asking about timelines, you know, for my own information. The next day, this family who has fostered these children got a visit from ICW and told them they were not to reach out to their counselor, and the Attorney General's office did not need to be harassed, was the term that was used. So my question is, anytime a counselor reaches out to the Attorney General's office, that is harassment?
I had no idea about that visit. When I spoke with you, I sent an email to the staff who would have been working on the case and asked what the holdup was and got the information back that I relayed to you. I don't think it's harassing. We're happy to provide information. That was an educational opportunity. It's unfortunate, but yeah, that's what I mean. I was able to give you information, so if this situation comes up again, you know what the timeline is. I didn't know anything about that, and I can tell you that I did not feel that it was harassing, nor did I tell anyone that it was. So
All right, I will ask ICW. Thank you.
apologize to them.
That's all I have.
Yes, Councilor Buzzard.
You gonna give us a briefing on the BIA letter, Chrissy?
I guess I'll take any questions you have. I mean, we sent the letter.
I guess I'd like to know what it means.
I think it means our election code is approved, and I think the rest of it doesn't mean much of anything. The specific issue was under the Five Tribes Principal Chiefs Act that they have to approve the year in which we elect a chief. They have to approve our election code. They don't necessarily have to approve it other years. We submitted it to them for approval, and you know, I think the letter could have ended with the first paragraph that says we approve the election code, but instead there was a page and a half of, I think, incorrect analysis of both the law and the Constitution of the Cherokee Nation. We have had a follow-up meeting with them and expressed our concern with some of the language. I think the most concerning part was that it wasn't necessary. The question was, is our election code approved? And then there was all of this additional information that's kind of been a longstanding, ongoing issue with the BIA anyway. We have met with them. We expect some additional information. I don't think it means anything. I don't think it affects anything. Our position is that the 99 Constitution is the Constitution of the Cherokee Nation, and for whatever purposes the BIA says they don't recognize that, doesn't affect us as a tribe, doesn't affect us as a government. We voted on the 99 Constitution. We've elected and appointed officials under it. We've passed laws under it. So I think it's unfortunate, but I don't think it has any kind of legal consequence or ramification.
So do we expect any more follow-up on it from the BIA, from your letter that you wrote to them?
So we have not responded in writing yet to them because we had a meeting instead, and we hope to get additional information. If we do submit anything in writing to them, officially asking them to take a position or change, we'll make sure that you all get a copy of it. But we had a face-to-face meeting instead.
Very good. Thank you. Thanks.
Good. Okay. Good report.
Thank you.
Gwen Terrapin.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'll make this short since you've got a long day. There's no changes since our last report. We're still at 17 requests total, and I don't have any outstanding. The website's been updated. And on a personal note, I hope that all of you have a blessed Christmas and a wonderful New Year.
Thank you.
Commend you and your staff, Gwen.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Good job. Okay, Tax Commission.
Afternoon. do believe you have my report, and I would try to address any questions that you might have.
Okay. Any questions for our tax commissioner? You do such a good job, no questions.
No questions. I appreciate that. You guys have a wonderful holiday.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Since the chief's sitting in the audience, I need a tag office in Copan.
Yeah. Go ahead and put one in Nycut too.
Okay.
You know how far they gotta drive from Nycut to get a tag? 20 miles?
20 miles?
Yeah.
Well, they're set in a 30-mile radius. This is the way the offices are set up,
Yeah.
so.
Welch is farther.
Yes. What's that?
Welch to Adair is farther.
You guys got good transportation. though. We're still on horseback where I'm talking about. All right, Counselor Shambo.
Thank you.
Ma'am, are you gonna be here for a little bit after this, or are you leaving now? I can talk to you after this.
I really need to leave if you.
I'll give you 30 seconds.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Jamie Humminberg. Not Jamie, but we're good.
Good afternoon. My name is Kelly Myers. I am the licensing manager. Jamie sends his regards. He's in a meeting with casino operations today, so he submitted his report. And if you have any questions, I'll take them back to him today.
Any questions for our gaming commission? Okay.
That was easy.
Tell everybody they're doing a good job.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Human Resources, Nason Morton.
Good morning.
Good morning.
One item of note that's in the report is, if you'll notice, the total number of employees for November 21st, we broke the 3,700 mark. Now, it fluctuates, but I'm trying to find if we've ever hit close to that, where we normally run 3,600 and something. Now we have 3,700, or as of that day, we broke that amount. Does anyone have any questions of me?
Councilor Walkenstick.
What's the legal definition of an employee?
For legal definitions, you'll have to either consult your attorney or the AG's office. There are many definitions throughout both policy and statutes. So for a general overall one, I don't think I have one.
Just gonna say it depends on what we're talking about. Sometimes it defines, for example, in the Constitution about doing business with the nation, it says employed in any capacity. And that's much broader than other laws or policies. So it depends on the context in which you're asking whether or not someone is an employee.
Okay.
We have lots of definitions and what it is and is not included as an employee. And a lot of times those are defined within it. So if you're looking at a certain law that says employees can or cannot do something, or a policy that says employees can or cannot do something, oftentimes HR policies say regular full-time employee or part-time. Some will say someone not on contract, not an independent contractor. So it just depends on what we're talking about.
Sounds complicated.
Yes.
It is. Yeah, it is. The tribe is complicated. Okay, good report.
All right.
How many definitions would you say there were?
Any as you want. There's a bunch.
Variety of definitions, like as in regular full-time, regular part-time, temporary full-time, temporary part-time. Could be quite a few. And if you want to go through policy, you guys are here all day, right?
Now, what I was going to ask is,
well, I was
you named 4. Are we talking 5 or 10, 15?
Have to do a search through the whole thing looking for keywords, but those off the top of my head. And you had asked about the policy last week, and I think it's in SharePort, but you guys can access it. So I was going to follow up with you and check and see if it's in there, and you can that way you can look through all of it because it's all in one place. And so I have to go for a few minutes,
So
but
you
I'll
as
come
Human
back.
Resources Director, can you supply the different definitions to us?
Yes.
Okay, just a little. Just like a vocabulary list, like at school.
As where you find them.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see.
And the other part I was doing simply because sometimes if you want to just look, you probably already have it as well. But yeah, I can find every time it appears in the policy.
It comes up, and if you don't know, and we don't know, and Chrissy don't know, I'd like to know.
I don't think it's more of not knowing. It's just that there are so many of them. The answer changed if you change a fact pattern or a status or the reason for
Yeah,
it.
just that little vocabulary list, and that'll get me fine. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Good report.
Thank you, sir. Y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Okay, you too.
Thank you.
And Nathan, you're invited to our lunch tomorrow.
I'm sorry.
You're invited to our luncheon tomorrow.
I will be there.
Okay. No old business, new business. Counselor Vasquez, take that, please.
Sir, this is a resolution confirming the reappointment of Chris Carter as a board member of Cherokee Nation Businesses. I move for his approval. And if you'd like to step forward in case anyone.
Got a motion?
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
Chris is here. Any questions? Yes, Counselor Crittenden.
Yeah, I hate to be too needy, but can we be supplied the C&B board members' contact information as far as, and it may be somewhere in Nathan's office or somewhere, but
Get a hold of us, or?
yeah, just a list of phone numbers and maybe an email addresses.
Yep.
We'll have Gail get that to you.
Me, I mean, it's, it may have to go through the, the chairperson or whatever, but I don't see any problem with it.
Well, there's just different issues that come up.
Sure,
where
I understand.
it'd be nice to put a bug in your ear.
Yeah.
And I had this question come up, sir. It just happens to be you up here, and of course you and I don't know each other, but you know, everybody knows what we all make here, and if you don't know, it's out there. It's on social media or different places, but I've been asked this several times and never got an answer. What does a C&B board member make a year? And you know, since ours is out there, we're kind of like a board. We might as well get that answered if we can.
Well, it depends. I mean, how many committees you're on, if you're a chairperson. It's, I mean, I really can't just give you a figure of what they make.
Is there a base like ours? I won't include everybody, but I make about $60,000 sitting up here a year. So is there a base on the C&B board?
Your base is $1,000, and then if you're on other committees, you know, you get paid extra. You know, and
Sean, did you have?
Well, I was just going to say, I personally don't even really know the answer to how that is, but like Chris says, it is based on a committee, and we can get that information and kind of gather. Different board members are on different numbers of committees, so that there's, you know, if the base is 1,000, then it's built off the number and the chairmanships, things like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it can be, my point is, it can be different between the members.
Yeah, if you could share that, I'd sure appreciate it.
Sure.
Good. Okay. Counselor Austin?
I was just going to say, if we're going to get into specifics, I'd ask that to be an executive session because of the confidential nature of what we pay our business board members for competitive reasons.
Sure. Okay. Anybody else? Counselor Vasquez?
I just have a comment that I would like to announce to everyone here and watching, that Chris fed all the employees of our Bonita Health Clinic a luncheon in November. We had lots of volunteers helping serve that, and I'm not sure how many employees we served, but we did run out of food, and it was wonderful. So I just think that's a great thing for, this was out of his own pocket, and Shout and Sack does great barbecue, and he did a good job, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
How come I wasn't invited?
Because you eat too much.
Yeah. Okay, you got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
Abstain.
Congratulations,
Abstain.
Chris. Staying right here. Okay. Counselor Baker Shaw, would you take the next one?
Sure. It's a resolution confirming the nomination of Dr. Roger Montgomery as a board member of the Cherokee Health Partners. I move for its passage.
Second.
Dr. Montgomery is here.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Yes, Counselor Lay.
I have a question of Dr. Montgomery.
Okay.
How are you, sir?
That's right, I'm good. How are you?
Okay. When you were here with us previously, I don't know if you recall or remember a meeting you and I and Miss Davis had in her office that used to be right over here. And you informed me that in no way would you ever build a brick and mortar clinic in Washington County. And since we went ahead and built that clinic, I just wanted to point out that it's probably percentage-wise the most efficient and the best at third-party billing that we've got in the system. And I recall that vividly. I don't know if you do, but I do. And I felt like you were determining that my constituents weren't as good as some other constituents. And I just wanted to point that out while you were here.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, Counselor Dobbin.
Dr. Montgomery, could you tell us what Cherokee Health Partners is?
It's a business entity with the Northeastern Health System, and we provide services, primarily imaging services to members, tribal members and non-tribal members.
Good? Anybody else? Dr. Montgomery, it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
We just lost our quarterback for the health department. So it's very competitive out there. And I'm glad sometimes we don't divulge everything here in these committee meetings about, you know, too much of the salaries and how we operate strategic-wise. But, you know, I was kind of disappointed we lost our quarterback myself. If we're the largest tribe and we claim to be having one of the best health care systems, how does somebody else come in and grab your quarterback? My philosophy always was, before anybody leaves, give me an opportunity to counter. Then we'll talk. And then if your counter doesn't work, if they want to go be with another tribe, then so be it. But, you know, I'm still a little bit disappointed we lost a person that, and I know that this is not, I'm just venting here. So you guys got a big responsibility to carry the load in the health department here. So anyway, we got a motion and a second. I got off track a little bit. Apologize. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, got one.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Montgomery. Yes, Counselor Warner, you want to take the next one?
Yes, this is a resolution commending and showing appreciation to Oklahoma Attorney General Mike Hunter for his work in support of wearing eagle feathers during graduation ceremonies. I move for its approval.
Okay. Motion, second?
Second.
Okay. That was pretty good of Attorney General to do that. That was a big deal if you do it correctly in a ceremonial way. So you got a motion and a second?
Hey, Speaker.
Yes, Counselor Walker.
On this resolution, or this resolution commending Mike Hunter, is, you know, I think we discussed this last time, but is he, the Attorney General, is he telling school boards that that they have to allow students to wear their feathers if they choose to?
His letter is, so there was a case a couple of years ago in federal court that was dismissed where a student sued saying that she wasn't allowed to wear her feather. The federal court dismissed it under federal law. They didn't decide the Oklahoma law issue. Oklahoma Attorney General Mike Hunter's letter says that under Oklahoma law, which is the Protection of Religious Freedoms Act, I don't know the full title of it, that school policies that exclude items on graduation regalia have to make religious exceptions. So he doesn't, he is telling them that if they don't make religious exceptions to that law, that they are running afoul, or if they don't make religious exceptions to the school policy, that they're running afoul of Oklahoma law.
Okay.
So that's his advice to, specifically to Vian public schools, but I assume that most public schools that are aware of the issue, if it comes up, will follow that advice as well, because it would then be the Oklahoma Attorney General enforcing Oklahoma law that says you have to provide religious exceptions to policies of general applicability.
Okay. So a student is going to have to prove that it's not cultural, but it's religious in order for them to wear their feather at their graduation.
I don't know what the legal test is for it. I think especially when it comes to natives that a lot of times the crossover between cultural ceremony and beliefs are somewhat religious, especially when you're talking about traditional kind of pre-Christian religion.
They go hand in hand.
And my guess is that's discretionary, that the school does have to determine whether or not it's truly a religion, because there's lots of cases out there where people try to claim religious exceptions to things that are that otherwise may be banned. There's a long line of KKK cases where people tried to argue that they should be granted some type of religious exception for some of that. But my guess is that schools, if a kid says, I'm Native and I have an eagle feather and I want to wear it, they're going to let them wear it. I assume they're probably not going to make them show proof or argument as to why that's their religion. I think that it was a very strong letter, and I think that any Native child, Cherokee or non, is going to be able to use that to support their position if they want to put an eagle feather on their graduation cap.
Sure. All right. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Speaker.
Good. Thank you, Chris. Okay. Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. Next, this was something that I was asked to bring to the table, and this is a discussion only. Election law. Harvey, you want to come? There's not a whole lot we can do with this, but I asked Harvey to be here in case there were some questions, and we're not going to get into a long discussion because we really can't even amend with the time frame that we're under with the general election. So, but I thought I'd throw a few questions out there, and if we should have done this a year and a half ago. So, Harvey, turn it over to you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Have we amended the agenda?
No.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
May I?
Sure.
Amendment? I believe having this discussion today is not proper based on the fact that the timeline has already started and we can't amend any election law retroactively. The published timeline has been published for some time. Any law that we were to, in my opinion, any law that we were to change or try to affect today could not go into effect until the next election cycle, not the one that's already underway.
That's correct.
And based on that, I would ask that this be withdrawn, and if there is a will of the body to have this brought back up in August after this election cycle is complete, then I would support that being an appropriate timing.
Okay. Yes.
Chairman, I disagree with the counselor. It took approximately 3 months from the date that the Attorney General's office submitted to BIA to getting our letter that we received a couple weeks ago. The filing for our election doesn't take place till February. But I guess my question is we've discussed in our last council meeting about the absenteeism that Councilman Dobbins referred to. And Councilman Agan asked a great question. It was $1 million question. If 75 absentee ballots is mailed to the candidate's mailbox, how do those people vote? And I know Harvey was stuttering, and we're all trying to think about how's this process happening. Well, I know many of us in here have been elected off of absentees and how that works, that process. Is it ethical? No, it's not ethical. Is it legal in the Cherokee Nation? Yes, it's legal. But if you look at our neighboring states and counties and the problems that they deal with absenteeism, they put safeguards in place to uphold the integrity of their elections. The state of Oklahoma is a great example. Many counties and many in the state of Oklahoma have dealt with the same thing that our Cherokee Nation is going through with absenteeism. And I strongly urge this body to possibly adopting or looking at some of those policies. You know, some of them is notaries. You know, a state notary can only notarize 20 ballots, 25 ballots. You know, yeah, and then, you know, and they can't address them to the candidates to address. You know, there's things that we need to do to uphold our integrity. I understand there's an election coming up, and I understand that it plays to our advantage for this, but sometimes this absentees overshadow the people's voice, the people that actually go and walk in and vote. And I know what I'm saying don't amount to a hill of beans to a lot of us in here, but I'm going on public record to say that. And so, and I will argue the fact that it's too late to change this, and with the BIA and getting it expedited for this election, and we can, you know, we can proceed further in court if we need to. But that's all I have, Chairman.
Good point. Okay. Yes, Councilor Critton. I'm gonna allow about 10 minutes for this discussion since I'm the sponsor, then I'm gonna make a decision. Go ahead.
Okay. Harvey, what would you say the absentee ballot was intended for?
Sorry, what it was what?
Absentee ballot, what was it intended for?
Well, in the
Cherokee Nation.
In the Cherokee Nation, it appears from the election law and the way it's structured that it's intended to give the citizens maximum opportunity to vote and to participate in the election. The citizens can request a ballot, fill it out, mail it in, and we think, and I think the council thought when they enacted it, that encourages more participation. You'll get more people participating in voting than you will if they all have to go to the polls. And let me explain a little bit about the process that you have adopted. You have a good absentee ballot process that has a lot of safeguards in it now. One, you have to request an absentee ballot. That request has to be in writing, submitted to the commission. The commission confirms that you are, if you submit it, that you're a registered voter, that you're registered in the district that you request the ballot in, or if at large, that you're at large. And they send the ballots out. The package that they send out has the outer envelope that's mailed in. It has a mailing envelope inside. It has an interior envelope to put the ballot in. The interior envelope that the ballot, well, first the ballot goes into a secrecy envelope. The secrecy envelope goes into another envelope, and that is put in the envelope that's mailed back. The envelope that the secrecy envelope goes in is required to be notarized by a notary. And the voter has to sign it.
Hey, Harvey, I don't want to interrupt you or sound rude here, but I understand that process. Kind of what I'm getting at and what I'd like to see, you know, in my mind, an absentee ballot would be for someone who can't vote. And there's kind of two levels to this in my mind. You know, someone who can't get out there, someone who's in the hospital or who's in a nursing home, you know, military. And the at-large, I see that. But just real quick, Harvey, like the at-large, do they all get sent to the election commission, or can they send it to the private post office box? Can they send it to someone other than the election commission at large?
The at-large can drop off absentee ballots at the election commission office during the times the drop box is open. They can.
But can they do the mass?
Pardon?
Can they do the mass mailing to someone other than the election commission?
You mean mail their ballots?
Yeah, to someone other than the election commission.
No, because the envelope is pre-addressed to the election commission.
Okay, so there.
It's put in the mail. It's got to come to us.
Right. Okay. And absentee request ballot. All right. So apart from the at-large, but I would really like to look at, you know, you say it gives more people a chance to vote, but in my mind, and I'm not speaking for anybody but myself, if you really care about what goes on in the nation, you know, I don't think a fishing trip, you're going to be gone fishing, counts. And someone had a really good idea when they request an absentee ballot, just a small form that says why they are. And this, excuse me? No. What difference does that make?
Why does that need to be on the form?
Why they are requesting one? Because this, if Victoria, if someone looks in at our process, it don't look right. So, you know, like I was saying, my idea is, yes, if you can't get out, if you're an elder, by all means, write that on there. Military, nursing home, you name the situations that make sense. And if you can't put anything other than I'm going to be just out of town visiting a relative, you know, that shouldn't qualify. Now I'm talking hypothetically because we ain't even close to that yet. And on the absentee ballot request forms, I'd like to see that mail to thing at the bottom taken off. I may be the only one. I don't think I am. But you got addresses up here, then where would you like this mailed to? I have every intention taking that off. That needs to be mailed to the person going to vote. And that person mails it to the election commission. And it's just.
I agree with you, Counselor.
Common sense there.
I think what we need to do, though, Harvey, is we've got good recommendations here. We have good discussion. But I'm going to ask you again, I don't think we can make any changes this late. We need to make changes, council members and committee. We need to make these recommendations. But time is everything here. We should have done this 6 months ago. And if we can't make changes on this one, but I would say get the election laws and look at them and write down these recommendations. Get with Harvey, get with our legal, and let's make these recommendations. That's our responsibility as council members. We do the legislation, and you guys set the policies and procedures to carry them out, correct?
Yes, I think it would be very risky at this time to try to make changes and try to get it approved for this next election.
Could it be?
It might happen, but if it didn't happen, you'd be jeopardizing the entire election process. And one thing to remember here, the absentee ballot request under the law, those requests can be made beginning the first Monday in January. So there will already be many requests accepted before you all have your next council meeting even.
Do you mean turned in?
Turned in.
Not collected. We could have been doing that last year.
You could have been collected them anytime. But they can be turned in they can be turned to the Election Commission for processing the first Monday in January under the existing law and timeline.
And packets have already been picked up for this election as of when?
Packets for the candidates were available with the timelines and all the information December 1st.
For the general election?
And there have been a lot of them picked up already.
I just got one more.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm going to.
Quick, all right. So
I'm going.
You said it would be risky.
Okay. I'm going to
mess with it.
You guys got plenty of time.
Yes, sir.
But you didn't say that it.
Yeah, but this is my
absolutely
I'm
not
sponsoring this. Okay.
So it could
I
be.
really don't have to.
It could be changed or tried to change, right?
Certainly, the council could pass an amendment,
Selena?
present it to the BIA.
We can't change anything.
The risky part is you don't get it approved.
Whatever you say, we
For
can't amend we can't amend the election law.
And the commission, it would throw the commission in a total disarray. They'd have to redo all of their documents and stuff, because they got instructions on the ballot, the instructions for the absentee ballots already printed, sitting there ready to go. The main preparation that the election commission does, most of that occurs before the filing period, getting everything ready. Starting out with any new amendments to the law, any changes to their rules and regulations, any changes to the forms that are needed.
Yeah, we couldn't, I'm putting some of that blame on myself because I didn't ever have to really go through the absentee process. This quick election that we're going to have has brought a lot of things out in the light to me, these questions. As far as my wife can be the notary, unlimited, sent to me. And so this quick election here has brought a lot of things out in the open. And that's where these questions, I really wasn't trying to procrastinate these questions, because some of them I can't believe is the process. So, but Talina, so you agree that if someone wanted to, they could change some things?
Council has the ability under the Constitution to make laws as you see fit, but I mean, those are the considerations, what Harvey just said, because absentee ballot requests can be accepted beginning the first weekend in January.
Well, that's what I was needing to know. Councilor Austin referred to them as, they couldn't be changed. So I got my answer. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Vasquez.
I wanted to make a statement regarding why a person might, regardless of their circumstances today, request an absentee ballot. And personally, I would request one, and I always do, because I never know what is going to happen on the day of the election that you go vote. I could be stricken with illness. I could have a death in the family. I could have hurt my back and I cannot drive. There are a lot of reasons that people ask for and receive an absentee ballot, and you want to make sure that your vote is counted.
Well, I hope none of that stuff happens to you.
No, I know. I don't either.
But you're not going to make me think
that's fine.
that's.
I just wanted to say that.
She's got the floor.
Okay.
I have complete confidence in our election commission.
Sure.
And I have complete confidence in the way things are run now, and I think we should table indefinitely.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to table.
Table the discussion indefinitely?
Actually, we don't even have to go there. I'm sponsoring this, and I'm getting ready to withdraw it and indefinitely. But I'm giving you guys a little bit of a chance. But here's the deal. I don't think we can change anything. In council members, I want to tell you something. When everybody was elected on the election laws we have in place today, correct? All of you guys were elected that way with what we have in place. And you're waiting until December with 6 months to go into election to bring up these issues.
Some of the things were brought to light in something that was
But you had the information in front of you, though. We've had a year and a half to read those election laws.
Yeah, and I said it's some of my fault.
Well, it's all of our fault.
It's just getting brought out to light.
Absolutely. And what I'm recommending is get those election laws and read them. If you've got somebody that's going to interpret those for you, take them home and read those. But don't wait till the 12th hour to come in and want to try to change things. It doesn't work that way here.
Well, I didn't know some of that stuff was in there. My fault again.
Well, and
But it
again,
got brought to
and
light.
I'm not pointing fingers, but we all have a responsibility to do some reading and do your homework.
I didn't know
we
my
all
wife
do.
could do that.
Yeah, but I'm getting back to the point. You guys, all of you were elected on the same election laws we have before us today. But now we're wanting to change those in the 12th hour. And I say there are some changes that need to be made, but not here in December with 6 months to go in the general election. Does that make sense? There are changes that need to be made. I like to sit down with the election commission and some of the staff there and say, what do you guys see that needs to be changed? But not for this general election. We're already too far into it. Packets have already been picked up. Am I making sense here, Harvey?
Yes, sir. The Elections Commission's job is to carry out the law that the council enacts, and they will do
Yes.
that. And if the council wants to change or put restrictions on absentee ballots, the commission has no problem with that. Their duty is to carry out the law as it is, and that's what they're doing now. But under the existing law, they have used every safeguard possible to make sure that the absentee ballots maintain their integrity, and that if there's anything, for example, if there's anything unusual about them, if there's markouts or whiteouts or anything like that, we contact the voter and make sure that that's their ballot, that's their request. And if there's anything that looks very unusual, a large number of those things, such as we did have in the last election, we send it to the Attorney General for investigation, which was done last time. And so there are safeguards in place to protect the integrity of absentee voting.
Harvey, I know you got to go to court here in a minute.
Yes, sir.
I got questions.
Well, I'm going to withdraw this. I'm going to withdraw this, and we'll do it for a later discussion. Because if we can't change anything,
Why would you bring it up?
He said we could.
but I can withdraw it. I'm the sponsor.
Why would you
Correct,
bring it-
Shelley?
Why would you bring it up if you can't? Why would you bring it
Well,
up?
I
if
gave you
can't change it?
10 minutes, right?
I'm saying.
What's the
why-
rush here?
Well, I just withdrew it, Counselor. How about that?
What's the rush?
Okay,
We
and
took off work
we will discuss it later.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, I just withdrew it. Okay, now, I need a motion to amend the agenda for the compensation committee.
Mr. Speaker, I'm allowed 2 minutes.
Not on this one here. Counselor Warner, you want to take that?
We need to amend the agenda.
For compensation
Yes,
committee.
I make a motion to amend the agenda to add a resolution to appoint members to the elected officials citizens committee. I put that
Okay.
form of motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. We got 2 resumes in front of you. Okay, motion to amend. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. You got a name?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to make a resolution appointing Lyndon Emberton to the Cherokee Nation Elected Officials Citizens Committee. I put that in form of motion. I'd like to add that you've all been given a resume from Mr. Emberton. Mr. Emberton served on the committee the last time.
Is he here, Counselor?
Nope.
Okay.
Resident of Sequoia County. You can see everything that he's got on there. Really stand-up guy, and I thought when I heard this was coming up last week at the same time as everybody else, I called Lyndon and asked him if he would like to serve again, and I'd be willing to nominate him. So.
Okay. Got a motion second for Lyndon Emberton?
I'll say.
Okay.
I have discussion, Chair.
Okay.
I don't like the process of handing us blank resolutions to this tribal council, because we don't know who's before us, and then putting on our table last minute. Mr. Emerson sounds like a great guy, and I'm not, this isn't directed towards him, but this is directed towards Chief, whoever's in your office, or I don't know where this is coming from, but this isn't a good practice. We need to.
Shelley, is this how we did it last time?
These are council appointments, it's nothing to do with administration, and we can't put a name resolution before you guys pick a name. And it has to be 17, well now 16 of you to pick that person. So it has to come to you in a blank.
So,
Or we would be voting in a poll, which I would think would be a quorum issue.
Right.
So we have to do it here. We have to do a resolution before.
so if this is going to be a process for this seat, and I wanted to bring up, John David, I'd make it a,
We sent a poll out requesting that you submit names and provide resumes. Then I gave you, I copied all the resumes for everybody today for consideration. The resumes that you have today are blank. 16 of you provided me with a name for the poll.
I think if it's predetermined and it's say I'm wanting to bring John David to the table, then let's all vote on John David. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't like a blank resolution. I like to do some homework. We should have had 16 resolutions. That's my saying. Chair, I'm done.
Okay, well, you have your opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, Councilor.
Yeah, and, like we all talk, we don't like things last minute. And this is not, that's an angel over there. It's not her fault, but the email I got was, have a name and a resume tomorrow. Now, if we don't like, last minute things, we do a whole lot of them around here, and this will be one of them. But just since we got cut short, gonna do this real quick. If we're gonna be catering like we are on these absentee ballots and request forms, there's a whole lot of other departments that I would like to see us cater to more, because we cater to them. If they're going, wherever Victoria's going or whoever, we're gonna cater that dude back and forth. And so I just wanted to add that. There's some housing.
I'm not for sure. I thought we were doing it. We got a motion and a second here on.
Let me answer that. What am I talking about? Catering, absentee ballot process. We mail it to wherever they want to.
Wait a minute. We're on Lyndon Emerton here.
Oh, okay. She asked what I was talking about. I was
Yeah.
going to let her know.
No, we're on Lyndon Emerton here. We got a motion and a second.
I have one question.
Yes.
Are there 2 spots open?
Yes.
Okay.
Chief, you wanna explain why we have to do this such in a hurried way?
Well, it's in the law. They have to meet before filing. I appointed mine. I appoint 2, you appoint 2, and those 4 appoint a 5th. And they have to meet by law before filing. Now, they don't make a recommendation until later, but it's just the way that it's in. The council made the law, and I'm following my part of the law. You need to follow your part of the law.
Okay,
Could we have done it months ago?
The law's the law, and I got people keep me legal, and they said, Chief, you need to do this pretty quick. So I did it.
And I depend on Shelley because she's been through how these policies work here at council. I mean, I didn't make this up. I say, Shelley, we have to do this now? She goes, yes. So, this is something that, and it's a council law that we're following here. So, yes, Councilor Buzzer.
If there's going to be 2 appointments, then I would make a motion to nominate Susan B. Gilstrap as well.
Okay. We're going to vote on this one here first.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
There are 2, are there? 2?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, we've got 3, so we're going to throw the last one we're going to give to administration for consideration because those 2, his and ours 2, and then they select one. Okay. Got a motion, second, Lyndon Emerton. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? Okay. Councilor Austin, you want to take the next one?
Certainly, this is a resolution appointing Susan B. Gilstrap to the Cherokee Nation Elected Officials Citizen Committee, and you've received her resume. She is highly qualified. She has been a lifetime of service to in government relations and public relations, and she currently serves on a similar committee in the state of Oklahoma committee. She brings a lot to the table. She lives in Uchi. She's originally from Claymore.
Is she here?
She's not.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Yes.
If I may. Does this need to go to council tonight?
Does it?
They do, so that the board can meet and determine the fit
Okay. All right, got a motion and a second for this to go to council tonight. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Anything else?
Did we second Mr. Gilstrap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any announcements? Okay. Need a motion to adjourn.